Welcome to Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in Sacramento today. We are joined by Miguel Santiago. He is a member of the California State Assembly, representing significant portions of Los Angeles County. And sir, I follow you on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and I see you've been out and about at night, going to deportation centers, going to holding facilities, going to rallies, looking for information about folks that have been picked up by federal immigration officials. What have you seen?
Well, look, I think it's important for elected officials in California to stand up for the progressive values that this state stands for, and also let our communities know that we're going to protect them. Now, what we've been seeing is mass hysteria in some immigrant communities. I represent an area that's the third poorest district in the state of California, and a large immigrant community. So there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of assumptions, and quite frankly, at the end of the day, people don't know their rights.
But here's what's interesting. A few weeks back, there was this posting on Facebook saying, ICE is out, they're starting to pick people up. And then there was some later posts saying it's not happening, that's false information. But then just a few days later, we know that ICE was out and they were picking people up. It's undeniable. You were standing outside of a facility. So not only do they not know their rights, folks aren't really sure where to turn.
Sure. Well, at the time, what had happened when we went there, and as my daughter and I and my child and my wife, because we really felt that this is important and an entire family needs to stand up, is we didn't have a lot of information. We were originally told there was approximately about 100 people. We wanted to know who those 100 people were. Later, allegedly, there's about 160 people that were detained across LA County specifically, but we felt that transparency is the highest standard for any agency, and that we needed to know who those people were.
And let's talk about that, because look, the new president made it very clear that his priority is to deport the criminally undocumented, meaning they're undocumented and they have criminal convictions. I don't know that many people would oppose that. Would you agree?
I agree, and I don't think we do oppose that, and I don't think the Obama administration opposed it either. Not quite frankly, is an extension of some of the Obama administration policy. But I think what we were concerned about with the president's executive actions is that he wanted to broaden that out to people that were not criminals or had not had any prior history.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, because, you know, the Obama administration, President Obama being called the deporter-in-chief, he was targeting those convicted of violent offenses, kicking them out. Lots of those were kicked out, those folks. But now we have this executive order that the president signed in the first week saying he would deport those that were convicted, charged but not convicted, those who received improper welfare benefits, those that were not charged but believed to have committed chargeable acts. This is a broad standard.
Yes, and it's so broad that it could be a violation of law as considered under his executive order by the mere fact that you crossed a border without papers. And so when we take a look at it, this is actually broad. Now, here's what's important about it, though, in California. This great nation and this great state don't stand on the values that tear apart families. And I think what he's doing are those actions that stand to tear apart families. So when you have young children at home who are worried about whether their parents will come back or not, when you have parents that are worried about whether or not they'll ever see their children again, this is problematic in today's California.
I have a friend who's a principal at a middle school in Englewood, which is a lower middle class community. I hope it's okay I say that.
Sure.
More economically disadvantaged community, high Latino population. These children are petrified because they may be documented, but their aunt's not documented, their grandmother's not documented, and they're having difficulty educating because the kids are so anxious and so fearful. Their parents aren't documented. They may not even know if they're documented. They may have been brought here at 6 months old.
Well, I'll tell you why this is personal to me, and I can
please.
And I can fully empathize with that sentiment because my father had come here to the United States at an early age, and he was not documented. And I remember as growing up, he was standing on the corners looking for work until he got his green card and then went through the citizenship process. But what I learned about undocumented immigrants, like my father, is that they're hardworking people who come here to the United States because they want to give their families a better life. And that's important to understand. Yes, we will not deny that there are some people who commit crimes. Yes, we do not deny that we would support removing people who are not good citizens and committed violent felonies. But by and large, when an immigrant comes to the United States, they come here to be productive. They come here to participate. They want a better life. And they are less apt to commit more crimes because they know that the risk of deportation happens to be there.
Well, as I understand it, the statistics indicate that immigrants are less likely to commit crime than those that are born in the country. Is that accurate?
And we've looked at those numbers as well, and they do suggest that. But at the core root of it, I think that it's important to understand that whether or not you are a citizen, there's still constitutional rights to being a human person here in the state of California, and that they're protected. And that's why I go to a lot of events and I go to rallies and protests, because we need to remind people that this country is based on a fundamental on fundamentals that give people a constitutional right, and more importantly, that every individual has the right to pursue freedom and liberty in this country.
But what do we do with the folks that are here, they are contributing, but they're not documented? I don't think they're going to get documented anytime soon, just because of the tenor and tone of the administration. How do we bring those folks out of the shadows? I mean, in the Obama years, arguably there was hope. I don't know that there's hope now.
Well, I'll tell you what you don't do, though. What you don't do is you create a shadow community that has no rights. It's taken us a long time here in California to get our communities to where they're at, to reduce the type of crime. And I don't think by creating a group of people who can't live outside of the shadows is a good way to make a better California tomorrow.
You have a bill that you proposed. We don't have a lot of time to talk about it, but it brings up a point, and it deals with fee waivers for community colleges. But it triggered my thought about the DACA kids. And those are the kids that are brought here like your dad at a young age, and then they wind up going to college and they need to work. Under President Obama, they were given status so they wouldn't be deported. As we speak today, we don't have information about whether DACA is going to be revoked. But what are you doing with all your DACA kids, if you know what I'm saying?
Well, look, the way I take a look at it, it has not been denied, so it still exists. And the state of California has set forth some monies in the years of past, and we're going to continue to do so to make sure that people move through the process, because the Supreme Court didn't say one way or the other. It just couldn't come to a decision.
Right.
But as it relates to community colleges, we believe that everybody should have the opportunity to go to community college, which is specifically why we put forth a bill that says we will give community college free to everybody for the first year. Right. This is really important. I'll tell you why. When you take a look at the statistics, when somebody attends a community college for an entire first year, their success rate is exponentially higher than if they were only to attend part-time. This means whether you're getting certified, whether you're getting transferred, whether you're going into some sort of career, this is actually really important. We have the opportunity to touch base with a counselor. We have the opportunity to get them into BOG waivers, Pell Grants, or Cal Grants.
Well, you come back. I want to continue this conversation about your bill. I'm sorry we didn't get to really flesh it out, but I thought it important that we talk about your work on behalf of the individuals living in your district. He's Miguel Santiago. My name is Brad Pomerance. It's Local Edition.
Thank you, Brad.